Perfect. Hare Krishna. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are tuning in from throughout the world. And there are lots of people tuning in from all throughout the world, so thank you for being here. This is See Through. It is a podcast with myself, Achita Gopi, where you all and our dear Krishna are always the guests. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being such wonderful, esteemed, and lovely assembled guests. It is always such a pleasure to be with all of you. We have our podcast usually every Monday, 10:30 a.m. New York time. However, that translates into the rest of the world. And the previous week, we had been having episodes every day, Monday through Friday, because we were journeying through the prayers of Lord Brahma throughout Krishna book. And those prayers are quite extensive, and we were discussing some realizations that came up because of them. We'll be continuing that because we're halfway through the prayers of Lord Brahma. So we'll be continuing those prayers, and we'll see how far we get today, and then we'll see how the inspiration strikes us at the end of this session. Sometimes I do find that the more I read with all of you, the more addicted I get to reading with all of you. And just hearing your appreciations, hearing what comes up for you, hearing what helps you, hearing what is also a stumbling block for you as we read through all of these prayers. It's so wonderful to be able to connect with such a wider audience like this. So thank you for being here. We have lots of our regulars in our Zoom room on Patreon. Um, and we have many, many regulars that are joining us through YouTube. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. If it's this not your first time here, thank you for being here. I am putting links into the YouTube chat box so that we can all follow along and we can be in this together. So if you have not yet dived into Krishna book, that's fine. You can just pick up here with all of us. And if you have been diving into Krishna book, wonderful. The whole point of all of this is so that we can easily get some Krishna Katha in. Sometimes reading on our own feels like an uphill battle constantly, and we feel like, is there any end in sight? And there is. The end in sight is when we come together and we encourage one another. You all encourage me, and hopefully I will say something or other that will encourage you. So it's wonderful to be here. Wonderful for all of us to be together. Okay. We have been in the 14th chapter of Krishna book. We have been going through the prayers of Lord Brahma, and as I said, we are about halfway through. So, a little bit, you can scroll through halfway, and then we'll all pick up, and I'm sure that we'll be able to follow along. Where we last left off, Lord Brahma was praying kind of about the inconceivable nature of Krishna. The fact that we can get a sense of Krishna in this great, wide, vast universe. It is often compared to the body, the universal form of Sri Krishna. So we have this great, vast form of Krishna's as the universal manifestation. But then Lord Brahma was saying, but I'm also perceiving you within my heart. Oh my Lord, I can feel you there. And then Lord Brahma is opening his eyes and saying, but I also see you right in front of me as a small little boy. How astonishing. How phenomenal. And we can all kind of get a sense of this kind of phenomenal manifestation of Krishna in three forms. We can perceive all of nature and how wonderful it is. But we can also perceive Krishna within the heart. We know when that intuition kicks in, and we know without knowing how we know. This is our Krishna being able to speak to us from within the heart. So we can perceive Krishna's presence even within our hearts, and then we can look at our many various deities. We can even look at a picture of Krishna and start to perceive him face to face in front of us with our eyes. It is incredibly mystical. And even more mystical, as Lord Brahma is beginning to realize, is that every single one of those forms can accept our service, can accept our love, and can accept a very personal relationship. It's amazing because nowhere else are you able to look at a picture of someone and have them receive your love and your affection, have them receive your good wishes and your service. That never happens. And sometimes we wish it would happen. You go through a bit of a breakup where you're missing your significant person, and then you start looking at their like profile picture on so many different things. You're like staring at their profile picture on WhatsApp or something, and the other person will never be able to perceive that. But Krishna is different. When we are gazing at the pictures and the forms of Krishna, even though they appear to be stationary, Krishna can accept all of our love, all of our attention. And then Lord Brahma was speaking about how Krishna never forgets any attention or any love that anyone has given him. Even if it is the smallest, minute, infinitesimal particle, Krishna remembers. And Krishna feels grateful and indebted to the devotee. How incredibly amazing is that? And so Krishna has been giving us the formula for how to capture him, for how we can make Krishna indebted to us and keep him always within our hearts. It is as simple as devotional service. Coming together and hearing about him, speaking about him, remembering him. He will become so much more real to us. Our relationship with him will become that much more real. And the more real that relationship becomes, the more we yearn and desire to just offer some kind of service. The more service we offer, the more Krishna can never, ever forget us. In this regard, I'll start with a really sweet story. So, we do like to begin and end on a sweet note. If you've ever had like a Gujarati thali, occasionally they will start with sweets first. Right? If you're like eating, they'll start with sweets first, and then you'll have a meal, and then sometimes we'll even end with sweets. So I feel like these sessions are a little bit like a nice Gujarati thali. In the middle, there's going to be some things that might blow our minds and make us confused if we don't know where we're going, but we can start and end with something incredibly sweet. So, small story. Once, Hanuman, beloved hero of the Ramayana, went to Lord Ram. And Lord Ram was looking at a book, or, the Treta Yuga version of a book. Just, in my estimation, many palm leaves put together, and papyrus. And although I just learned about how Vedically they would make paper and ink, and it is like astonishing. They would make invisible ink. They would make ink that they would use to make the lines on the paper, and then that ink would fade away. And then all that would be left was the wonderful writing. And so, sometimes you think like, how did you get that all straight? Because if I write on something with no lines, it all like starts to just look like a rainbow after a certain amount of time. But they would make ink that would fade away within half an hour, and all that would be left were the wonderful writings and not the lines on the pages. So Sri Ram, in this way, was looking at a book and many pages, and Hanuman said, "Oh, my lord, what are you looking at?" And he said, "Oh, these are the names of all of the devotees who have been remembering me and rendering service to me." Hanuman thought, "Oh, well, my lord, may I see?" Sri Ram said, "Of course." And Hanuman's looking at this book, and each page he's looking, there's so many devotees and names of people who have rendered service and that are remembering Lord Ram. And he keeps looking for his name because Hanuman knows In his heart, there's nothing but Sri Ram. And he's looking and he's looking and he's looking, and everyone's name is there but his. Hanuman starts to feel a little bit dejected. Oh, my lord. Well, where is my name? And Sri Ram says, I have another book. So Sri Ram pulls out another book. Hanuman says, my lord, what is this book? If that book was the other one, what is this book? Sri Ram says, this is the book of people who I can never forget. And they say that from the first line on the first page to the very last line on the last page, the book was filled with nothing but Hanuman's name. So, our Krishna never ever forgets any small amount of service. Hanuman has done services big and small. He was ready at all times, ready to just do any service for his Sri Ram. So, this is what is awaiting us. Sometimes we think, what's in it for us? You know, we're going through all the tapasya of reading these spiritual literatures. What's in it for us? Krishna will never be able to forget you. Not only will we remember Krishna, but Krishna will never ever be able to forget you. So with that said, let's dive into Krishna book. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now we are in the realm of Sri Vrindavan Dham, a beautiful forest on the banks of the Jamuna, where every word is a song, every step is a dance. Even the trees are offering their fruits to Krishna. The grass makes itself soft just so that as Krishna steps on it, all he feels is joy. We are in the presence of Govardhan, the king of mountains and the fulfiller of all of our precious, most heartfelt desires. Govardhan, who, hearing even just the sound of Krishna's flute, melts in ecstasy. And his hairs, which are considered to be the grasses, stand on end. We are in the presence of all of the most wonderful magic of Sri Vrindavan Dham, where all of the dust is Chintamani dust. All of this dust sparkles, where there are precious jewels at the base of every tree, and every tree is a wish-fulfilling Kalpavriksha tree. It is in this Sri Vrindavan Dham that we now continue to hear the prayers of Lord Brahma to our supreme best friend Sri Krishna, who is just between 5 and 6 years old. He's a small boy, standing with a flute pushed into his belt and a buffalo horn. He has a bright, brilliant yellow sash and a lightning-colored yellow dhoti. He has anklets on his small lotus feet and bangles on his wrists. He's decorated with a forest garland, a beautiful turban, and all kinds of feathers and berries and decorations in his hair, given to him by his friends. With this wonderful vision, we can now dive back into the prayers of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma says, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, simply by understanding your constitutional position, Sri Krishna, your appearance and disappearance, one can be immediately elevated to the spiritual kingdom after quitting this present body. Therefore, to cross over the ocean of material nescience, an intelligent person takes shelter of your lotus feet and is easily transferred to the spiritual world. There are many so-called meditators who do not know that you are the Supreme Soul. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, you are the Supreme Soul present in everyone's heart. Therefore, there is no necessity of one's meditating on something beyond you. One who is always absorbed in meditation on your original form of Krishna easily crosses over the ocean of material nations. But persons who do not know that you are the Supreme Soul remain within this material world in spite of their so-called meditation. So Lord Brahma's opinion, his verdict is, we could meditate all day, every day, but if it does not bring us to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, we'll have a long way to go. Meanwhile, if we meditate on the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, we can jump over so many of the levels that might bar us, that might be on this path of transcendence. Transcendence comes easily to those who take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Lord Brahma continues, if by the association of your devotees, a person comes to the knowledge that Lord Krishna is the original super soul, then it is possible for him to cross over the ocean of material ignorance. For instance, a person becomes transcendental to the mistake of thinking a rope is a snake. As soon as one understands that the rope is not a snake, he is liberated from fear. For one who understands you, therefore, through your personal teachings as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, or through your pure devotees as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the Vedic literatures, that you are the ultimate goal of understanding, he need no more fear this material existence. So first, Lord Brahma paid obeisances to the vast universal form of Krishna. And we were hearing about how that universal form was baffling even Lord Brahma, who created it. Now, he's paying obeisance to the Lord within the heart. So we might wonder why these prayers are so long and why they're going in this. So there is a chunk of prayers dedicated to the universal form. Now there's a chunk of prayers dedicated to Paramatma. And I'm sure as we go along, there'll be a large chunk of prayers offered to the personalized form of Krishna that he is seeing before him. So-called liberation and bondage have no meaning for a person who is already engaged in your devotional service, just as a person who knows that the rope is not a snake is unafraid. A devotee knows that this material world belongs to you, and he therefore engages everything in your transcendental loving service. Thus there is no bondage for him. So this is how we can have day jobs and have lives and have relationships and friendships and all kinds of things and think, but how am I also a renounced person in devotional service? We offer all of that to Krishna. Sometimes we have a day job or we're studying in school and we can think, this will somehow bring joy to Krishna. I will be able to use this in Krishna's service somehow, some way. And we might not know exactly what that way is immediately right now, but Krishna will make it clear to us as long as we keep that hope in our hearts. I will somehow be able to use this in Krishna's service. There are so many people who have studied tech and IT and computer software and all these things, and I bet you, I don't think they ever would have thought that there would come a time when so much of Krishna consciousness would be turned virtual. Now these people are so necessary to everyone's service. Everybody needs a tech expert now. This is a service. We maybe never thought that the internet would play such a big role in our spiritual lives, but here it is. So we can use this internet in Krishna's service, and Krishna knows, Krishna will remember, and Krishna will reward us for our efforts. So no matter what we're doing, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. O son of Kunti, he constantly reminds Arjuna of their personal relationship. You are mine. I am yours. We are family. You belong to me, friend. Do that as an offering unto me. Let us take heart in the many, many times that Krishna will remind us throughout the day that we belong to him. Because the converse of that is that Krishna also belongs to us. When we belong to him, he absolutely, wholly, and supremely solely belongs to us. So this is what happens when we start to, Srila Prabhupada often used the term dovetail, our natural propensities in Krishna service. If you are an artist, use that art and make wonderful portraits of Krishna. Fine. If you think, I'm not good at drawing people, no problem. Draw the landscape of Vrindavan, please. We need them as backdrops. We need them as meditations. If you are a person who loves to write poetry, then please write it for Krishna. Write out your emotions, because I guarantee you, you are not the only person that feels that way. If you are somehow a doctor, then use that art. Use that practice as a service unto Krishna. In fact, Lord Dhanvantari is the Lord of medicine. Sri Krishna knows how important medicine is. So, there's no problem there. Anything and everything can be related back to Krishna as long as we have the will, the drive to relate it to Krishna. The only thing standing in between us and this wonderful desire is us thinking that Krishna is too far away. I can't relate this to Krishna. Krishna is not too far away from you. If we can believe what Lord Brahma is saying, then he is present right here within your very own heart. All we have to do is have that desire and then fan the flame of that desire every day to somehow, some way relate everything back to Krishna. We have some people on YouTube who are artists and others. Thank you. Welcome. Please, please use your art. Research it. Find out what Vrindavan looks like and make beautiful art for Krishna and all of the devotees. You will bring such joy to Krishna's heart. And in turn, Krishna will be so pleased that he will bring such unlimited joy to your heart. Krishna will become yours forever. Lord Brahma continues. There is no question. Wait, let's see. For a person who is already situated in the sun planet, there is no question of the appearance or disappearance of the sun in the name of day or night. It is also said that you, Krishna, are just like the sun, and Maya is like darkness. When the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. So for those who are always in your presence, there is no question of bondage or liberation. They are already liberated. On the other hand, persons who falsely think themselves to be liberated without taking shelter of your lotus feet fall down because their intelligence is not pure. We've spoken about this idea of liberation. What does this mean for us? How can we take this? Because sometimes we think, I've been surrendering to Krishna, I've been focusing on Krishna, but still I live in this material world. What do they mean liberated? But when we are having a bad day, I've tried this. Tried it just this weekend. When we're having a bad day, when we feel as though our minds are our worst enemies, if we can be brave enough to take shelter of these spiritual literatures, if we can be brave enough to go and say, okay, I won't try and fix this all on my own. I will turn to Krishna. I promise you, Krishna will turn that mood around, and that is the liberation. It is a liberation from the most binding thoughts of our minds. Those dangerous thoughts that tell us that things will never get better, that things will never be okay, that we will never have our prayers answered. When our mind starts to do that, it can become dangerous. We know it's so dangerous for the heart because we start to believe the mind, isn't it? We start to believe the nonsense, the darkness that the mind is telling us. That is how the material world exerts its influence. Sometimes it can be as simple and as subtle as the mind. But if we can be brave enough to say, no, mind, not this time. I am going to take shelter of Krishna, even if it's just one sentence. I'm going to pray, Krishna, help me, show me. And that one sentence, I guarantee you, will make you feel better. If you read it once and you still feel weird, read it again. If you read it again and you still feel weird, read it one more time. And it will help. One verse that helped me this weekend was a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 18. So Srimad Bhagavatam 2:7-18. And I'll just read it. Bali Maharaj, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master, Shukracharya. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Bali Maharaj, by gaining the transcendental favor of the Lord in exchange for his great material sacrifice, was able to have a place in Vaikuntha Loka with equal or greater facilities of eternal enjoyment. Therefore, he was not at all the loser by sacrificing the kingdom of heaven, which he had possessed by his material strength. In other words, when the Lord snatches away one's hard-earned material possessions and favors one with his personal, transcendental service for eternal life, bliss, and knowledge, such taking away by the Lord should be considered a special favor upon such a pure devotee. Now, that's not all of the purport, but that is one part that helped me. Sometimes we think, oh my Lord, why have you taken everything from me? I've just been trying to serve you, and it feels like it's an uphill battle, and at every moment you're taking something from me. Peace of mind, all of my comforts, right? All of the things that I yearn to feel comfortable with somehow get snatched away. Oh my Lord, what is this plan of yours? If we can surrender and know that Krishna does absolutely have a plan that includes our happiness, if we can trust Krishna, then we will understand that giving that, allowing Krishna to do his thing and make the magic happen, we will never be a loser. We will gain more than we could ever imagine. We gain the transcendental loving service to our friend, which means that he decides, I can never leave you. Oh, my dear devotee, you have given me everything. I can never leave you. So don't worry. If it feels as though Krishna is showing you some tough love, the rainbows are coming. The payoff is coming. The devotional service is coming. When we get that devotional service, we get Krishna heart and soul. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, so I thought I'd talk a lot about heart and soul and how Krishna loves us so much. Because we're always looking for a Valentine, isn't it? You know, like I feel like even if you're not, you are. And the best thing is that Krishna is such a supreme Valentine that he can be everybody's Valentine in exactly the same way that everybody needs Krishna to be their Valentine. And you lose nothing. When we give our love to Krishna, we lose nothing. And then Krishna finds a way to make everybody else in our lives happy. How amazing is that? On our own, we cannot please everyone. But as they continue to say, if we water the root of a tree, everything else gets nourished. If we satisfy Krishna and we're able to make Krishna happy, then Krishna will in turn satisfy everyone around us. He will make a situation where everyone is pleased. So, Lord Brahma continues. If one therefore thinks that the super soul is something different from your personality and thus searches out the super soul somewhere else in the forest or in the caves of the Himalayas, his condition is very lamentable because it's a long, slow road. Your teachings in the Bhagavad Gita are that one should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply surrender unto you, for that is complete. Because you are supreme in everything, those who are searching after the Brahman effulgence are also searching after you. And those who are searching after the super soul realization are also searching after you. You have stated in the Bhagavad Gita that you yourself, by your partial representation as the super soul, have entered into this material cosmic manifestation. You are present in everyone's heart, and there is no need to search out the super soul anywhere else. If someone does so, he is simply in ignorance. Friends, Krishna is within your heart. If you can remember nothing else, it is that you do not have to search him out anywhere else. If you think, I'm not close to a temple, and I'm not close to devotees, and I'm not no problem. Krishna is here. And when we come onto these virtual sanghas, and we have these assemblies, Krishna is present here. The moment we speak his name with all of our hearts, Krishna, he is here. Can we allow ourselves to believe? Maybe not all day. Maybe our minds will get the best of us later in the day. But for this 1 hour, we can allow ourselves to believe that all of it is true and that all of it is possible, probable, absolutely happening. Krishna is here. Can we feel his presence through these words of Krishna book? Can we feel him? These words become like a warm embrace. These words become our dearest friend, embracing us to his heart. Maybe later on in the day, everything else will come into the forefront of our minds, but for this time, let us believe with all of our hearts, Krishna is here. There is no need to search him out anywhere else. You all are very lucky. It's not often that we get the audience of our supreme most best friend. There are people who have meditated for thousands of years to get a darshan that we are having right here, right now, of our friend as a little boy, holding food in his hand, standing with small lotus feet, and the most beautiful smile in all of creation. A smile that is just for us. One who is transcendental to such a position understands that you are unlimited. You are both within and without. Your presence is everywhere. Instead of searching for the super soul anywhere else, a devotee only concentrates his mind on you within. Actually, one who is liberated from the material concept of life can search for you. Others cannot. The simile of thinking the rope to be a snake is applicable only to those who are still in ignorance of you. Actually, the existence of a snake, besides the rope, is only within the mind. The existence of Maya, similarly, is only within the mind. Remember how I said, that's how material nature gets you? When the mind starts churning and bringing up all of the thoughts. Maya is nothing but ignorance of your personality. When one forgets your personality, that is the conditional state of Maya. Therefore, one who is fixed upon you both internally and externally is not illusioned. Why? The mind cannot touch us then. The mind cannot tell us all of the fears that we are afraid of. The mind cannot come and tell us, you know what? Why are you even doing all of this? You're only going to fail. None of this is going to be worth it. No one will even care. No one will see your efforts. You have to do better and more than anyone else for anyone to see your efforts. And then when they see your efforts, they won't even acknowledge them. The mind is wrong. Why? Because Krishna has been there. Krishna is seeing your efforts, and Krishna is acknowledging your efforts. So even if we think we cannot see anyone else acknowledging them, there's one supreme person. Krishna is acknowledging all of them. So on the strength of at least that promise, the mind is wrong. There is no failure for you. These efforts do not go in vain. I promise. Lord Brahma promises. Srila Prabhupada promises. All of our acharyas, all of the devotees of Krishna promise you. So, this idea when the mind comes in and starts telling us all of these things, it is an illusion. An illusion meant to keep us trapped here. An illusion meant to keep us from transcending. Why? One might think, why? Because Maya is a personality. In fact, she finds her origin within the wife of Lord Shiva. Parvati Devi is there. She says, "Oh my Lord, I am the personification of your illusory potency." So why? Why would another devotee want to make such obstacles? Why would another devotee want to keep living entities trapped in this material existence? Why? Isn't that a good question? It's like, because I really love Parvati Devi. I feel as like this is Maya finds her like Mahamaya finds her origin even within Lady Subhadra. This is Krishna's sister. Parvati Devi says, "I'm Krishna's sister." So then why? Why would a family member of our supreme friend want to keep us locked in this place? Why would she have this thankless task of keeping people away from Krishna, even using our own minds? Why? Well, the answer is quite simple. We started it. Sorry. We started the issue. We decided, Krishna, I have to leave your abode and try and figure out things on my own. Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna begs the living entity not to go 3 times. Our Supreme Person begged you, Spirit Soul, you, me, not to go. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. You won't be happy. Don't leave me. And we thought, I have to do what I have to do. Sorry. And so Maya Devi takes up the thankless task of trying to find out if we are actually serious now, or if we are still hell-bent on causing pain to the heart of her Lord. I started to look at the whole thing differently after I realized that I am the problem. It was me. So now she wants to know, are you serious? Do you mean it this lifetime? Because there have been innumerable lifetimes that we've sworn, I mean it this time, I mean it, I swear. And then we leave again. I've got to handle this on my own. And then we swear, but Krishna, I need you. And I've also got to handle it on my own. So now, she employs our own mind. She employs this material world. She says to us, I will give you whatever you desire. Just come with me. What do you need this surrender for? And I thought about it in terms of the people that I love most. If there was someone I loved and they were in a really toxic relationship, and then they got out of that toxic relationship, if that other toxic person came back, you better believe I would be asking every question. I would be standing in the way. I would be presenting hurdle after hurdle. You are not getting close to my person again. I love my family too much. I love my people too much to let anybody come in and disturb their heart, because it hurt the last time they left. I saw what my people looked like when they left. Krishna was hurt by us leaving. And Maya Devi witnessed it all. She is his internal potency, always with him. She got to see firsthand how he lamented over us leaving. Imagine, our Supreme Person has shed tears simply missing us. Ah, friends, oof. Oh, that hurts me in my stomach. So when we think, how could I have got caught up in this illusion? Why would Maya Devi be presenting this illusion at all? What is the deal? This is why. So sometimes we think, one friend is saying, why does the Lord continue putting us in prolonged bodily pains even after we learn not to identify with the body? Because we have not yet really learned not to identify with the body. As much as I have been taught from before I was born, my mother was reading Srimad Bhagavatam before I was born, constantly reminding me, oh little soul, you are not this body. You are spirit soul. The minute I came out, I'm still identifying. I wake up every day and solidify myself in this body with a certain gender and a certain nationality and a certain skin color and a certain hair color and a certain eye color. And the one thing that I am not affirming every day when I wake up is none of those matter. I am Krishna's friend, and that is all. I long to bring joy to my Krishna's heart, and I long to be enjoyed by Krishna. If I really had that mindset, I would think differently about my prolonged bodily pains. Because those prolonged bodily journeys come about because somewhere that was my desire. Somewhere, previous lifetimes, there were a mountain of desires that have brought me to this place, this body, right now. And so, looking at all of the traumas and the hurts and the scars that are impressed upon my soul from this bodily journey, there is hope. Do you know why? Because somewhere those desires also brought us here. We're Krishna conscious because of those desires. So friends, all is not lost. You're not too far gone. Because those desires maybe brought you to this body, but they also brought you to Krishna. Dragging, kicking, screaming sometimes. But they dragged you to Krishna. So, all glories to those desires. All glories to Krishna's mercy. All glories to the association of devotees. Somehow or other, they performed a miracle. Because we're here. And so is Krishna. If we can't feel him, it is simply Another trick of the mind, whispering to us. When we say Krishna is here, our mind says, no, he's not. Who do you think you are? Why do you think Krishna would show up for you? Why do you think Krishna would make time for you? You think he doesn't have 8 billion other people? You think that Krishna will be here for you? What would make you think that? Because the absolute truth is that Krishna is here. No matter how many other people there are, Krishna is here. No matter how many times I have pushed him away, Krishna is here. Because that is Krishna's determination. One friend is asking, what if our traumas don't let us connect to Krishna? What do we do? That is the most beautiful question. Sometimes our mind refuses to allow us to believe in Krishna. My mind often refuses to let Krishna love me. I say, Krishna, I need your love and your attention. I need your help. And Krishna says, okay, let me help you. And then I say, no. Why would you want to help me that way? Help me the way I want you to help me. But that's not how Krishna works. Krishna is going to give his help the way he gives his help. But do I let him love me? No, I don't let him love me. Why? Because trauma, scars, abandonment issues, all of the above. Krishna won't be there for you. When you most need him, just like everybody else in this material world, Krishna will leave. When you most desire that help, Krishna will fail. Because the things that we've wanted most in life have often failed us. So what do? Is there any hope? The hope is in other devotees. Lord Brahma says this association is key. Srila Prabhupada spends much of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita speaking about how association is key. The association is the key to our faith in Krishna. Because somewhere, we'll see someone, and we'll be so intrigued. What? That person looks like they've got it all together. That person is shining, looking like they have everything that I want. What did you do? And then that person says, I have faith in my best friend, my dearest friend. And then we go, well, who is that? And that person somehow mercifully tells us, my dearest friend is Krishna. Don't you remember, soul? He's also your friend. Don't you remember what you had with him? You had a relationship with Krishna. Don't you remember? So we might find people, even in spiritual communities, who will be eager to tell us, Krishna is the best friend, just not yours, because you're not there yet. I want to do things differently and tell you that Krishna is your friend, especially when you feel you don't deserve it. That is the definition of causeless mercy. Mercy means we are unqualified, undeserving. We have no adhikar. We have no qualifications to deserve this love from Krishna. Causeless mercy means Krishna will give it anyway because that is Krishna. Krishna will be there for you, especially when you feel most that you do not deserve it. Your diet is not proper. Your regulative principles are not proper. Your chanting isn't proper. Okay, so what? Krishna is giving his mercy anyway. Keep going. Keep doing it. Push through when the mind tells you, no, but that person over there was sitting on a Vyasa-san. They look like a very exalted leader. They've been studying this Krishna consciousness for so long, they must know what they're talking about. So when they tell me that Krishna can't love me because my diet, my this, my that, who I love, what I look like, where I come from, it doesn't matter. According to Lord Brahma, Krishna is within your heart anyway. Krishna is here, giving you his love and your friendship. The trick is knowing none of us deserve it. None of us. I don't care who you are. None of us actually deserve it. But as Lord Brahma has said, if we tolerate this life condition, right? I am terminally ill with a case of material life. If we tolerate this condition of our material lives, all the while having some faith in Krishna's mercy, that mercy becomes our rightful claim. It is our inheritance, our birthright. It is already ours. So if our traumas will not allow us to believe, you find people, find devotees who believe. And if they look like they believe and then they tell you, yeah, no, but Krishna couldn't love you, then run, find different devotees. They're out there, I promise you. And it is okay to find different devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami always states that we need to find like-minded souls. So, for every pot, there is a lid. There will be a like-minded soul for you. Come find them. Find these gatherings, find these places, and then hold on tight for dear life, because this is all we have. So let's see. One who has attained a little devotional service can understand your glories. Just a little devotional service. Even one striving for Brahman realization or Paramatma realization cannot understand the different features of your personality unless he treads the devotional path. One may be the spiritual master of many impersonalists, or he may go to the forest or to a cave or a mountain and meditate as a hermit for many, many years, but he cannot understand your glories without being favored by a slight degree of devotional service. Brahman realization or Paramatma realization are also not possible even after one searches for many, many years, unless one is touched by the wonderful effect of devotional service. Friends, you've all been touched by devotional service. You've done it. You've succeeded. We spend so much time working on ourselves. Let's just take one moment, 1 minute to say, we are victorious. We've been victorious. You've done it. You're here because you've been touched by devotional service. We are understanding something small about Krishna's glories and how much he loves us because we've been touched by devotional service. And what is that devotional service? It can be as simple as just remembering, Krishna, I am yours, you are mine. That is it. That's all I know. I don't know math. I don't know history. I might not know the whole vastness of this universe. I might not know anything, but I know I am yours. You are mine. That is all. That is enough. We've succeeded. You have accomplished a great victory today. You have fought through the battles of the mind and the negativity and the self-doubt and scheduling and all these things to come here. You succeeded. May we always be victorious. May we always understand the glories of devotional service and thus understand the heart of our Supreme Person. All glories to all of your efforts. My dear Lord, I pray that I may be so fortunate that in this life or even in another life, wherever I may take birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. Wherever I may be, I pray that I may be engaged in your devotional service. I do not even care what form of life I get in the future, because I can see that even in the form of cows and calves or cowherd boys, the devotees are so fortunate to be always engaged in your transcendental loving service and association. Therefore, I wish to be one of them instead of such an exalted person as I am now, for I am full of ignorance. I'll read that prayer again because we'll stop on that prayer. My dear Lord, and Brahma, creator of the worlds, is speaking. My dear Lord, I pray that I may be so fortunate that in this life, or in another life, wherever I may take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. Wherever I may be, I pray that I may be engaged in your devotional service. I do not even care what form of life I get in the future, because I can see that even in the form of cows and calves or cowherd boys, the devotees are so fortunate to be always engaged in your transcendental loving service and association. Therefore, I wish to be one of them instead of such an exalted person as I am now, for I am full of ignorance. Lord Brahma would wish for our position, because we can be fully dependent on Krishna. We are in a position where we know we are in control of nothing, and therefore we are surrendering every moment to our dearest friend. Lord Brahma would wish for our position. How unfathomable is that? The thing we say, oh, I wouldn't wish this material body on my worst enemy. Lord Brahma would wish for this body to be completely dependent on Krishna. This is his wish. And it is our wish also. Just to remember that we are servants of our dearest Supreme Friend. So I'll end with something from Premamala. Let us see. Let's see if I can find it. Somewhere in there. Let's see. I'll do it the other way. Okay. This one is called Medal. As in a gold medal, and not like the metal that you use to make a ring. So there's a gold medal. I haven't won any medals. No accolades by my name. No fancy title to introduce me. No pretentious claims to fame. The only medallion I wear is your love. And somehow that's more than enough. When my heart feels terribly underdressed, it's the one thing I can be sure of. So take this heart. It's all I have, dusty and bruised though it may be. As the dust gets cleared away, you can see romance's filigree. Etched upon its outer edges, your love makes it shine like gold, until its brilliance begins to take over, in hues both bright and bold. So I wear this heart as a badge of honor, proudly made brand new. And I know the only epithet I need is one forever linked to you. This reminded me of Lord Brahma's prayer that wherever I be, wherever I may go, Lord, just count me as one of your own. Let me be known as a devotee of yours, for that is the greatest treasure in all of creation. No matter who we are, no matter where we go, my prayer for you today is that we may all be counted as devotees, devotees of our dearest Supreme Lord. And because I really can't get enough, I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll continue with these prayers. We have to get through these prayers of Lord Brahma, and I feel like they need to be done in without taking a week-long gap between them, you know? I feel like they need to be just keep diving. So we'll keep diving until we finish these prayers. So tomorrow will be Valentine's Day. So tomorrow, I'll see you all at 10:30, and then I'm going to be posting right after an invitation. You'll have to register for it, but it will be a virtual poetry reading on Valentine's Day. It is called Prem Mahotsav, a celebration of love. And it'll be a first of its kind virtual poetry reading that I'll do. It'll start 8 p.m. New York time. So I'm going to hope and pray that that's not too late for some of you, but it's okay. I promise you I will make some sort of arrangement. But you'll have to write to me and tell me how eager you are for an alternate arrangement. But because it is Valentine's Day tomorrow, I wanted to, needed to. So I'll put up the registration for that after this session. Please register. Please come. Please be there with me. Spend your Valentine's Day evening with me and Krishna. It's gonna be really cool. We get to dive into some people that are really in love with Krishna, and I get to read poetry from Prema Mala and some things that have not been released and put out there. So you will get a little bit of access to some new things very, very dear to my heart. So please, 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 please try and make it. It'll just be 90 minutes of us getting to speak to one another, and there will be Q&A. So it'll be over Zoom only. And we'll be putting it on YouTube. So it'll be only over Zoom. It'll be exclusive as long as you register for it. And we'll get together and we'll talk to one another, and you can ask me some questions about Prema Mala if you've heard it, or whatever you hear that particular session, and we can discuss. So I will see you all tomorrow twice. I'll try and get the times for all of it. In India, it might be a little early. It might be about 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m., something. I'll figure out the timings. I'll let you all know. And let me know. Write me a note. Please email me something. Send encouragement, Send a little word that says, hey, thank you. We really appreciate this. It keeps me going. I can assure you it keeps me going more than I can ever tell you. And I really do need encouragement. I might look like I've got it all together, but usually it's like after these sessions, I go and have those days where I cry in a corner because I feel like nothing of this is ever going to make any sense. So thank you. All of you send me encouragement and words of love and little rainbow notes of Krishna's mercy. You all are the reason that I am here. Thank you for all of your questions, both in the Zoom room and on YouTube. You all are rock stars. So, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Krishna Book ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda Dev ki jai, Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to all of you. You all are like little Kalpavriksha trees of goodness in my everyday life. I appreciate you. And I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll continue with Brahma's prayers. And then in the evening, we will have a celebration of divine love, all dedicated to our supreme, most best friend, and most awesome Valentine that there ever was, Shri Krishna.